My name's Casey. Happy to be here with everybody. Let's go ahead and begin doing nothing together for a half hour, or I like to say 1 moment. Every meditation is 1 moment long, just being with whatever moment is arising. And as we begin, we can reflect on a few things to assist in our motivation. First thing that we can reflect upon is how rare and precious it is to have met the Dharma. Many times, Dharma is loosely translated into truth. So, inner resource tools that bring about the realization of truth. There are many, many Dharma deserts in this world. So, simply meeting the Dharma is rare and precious. It is even more rare and precious if you resonate with the Dharma. Many people can hear it, but if you have Dharma karma, this is even more rare and precious. So if you've heard about the Dharma and it resonates with you, it's even more rare and precious that you have an inclination towards practice, not just listening and contemplating, but actually meditating, practicing it, integrating it into your own life. This is even more rare, more precious. And even if this was all true, and all of this resonates with you inwardly, having the external causes and conditions come together, a place to practice, a time to practice, like the opportunity we have here. There's people that want to practice, they live in countries or situations, they're not allowed, or simply the environment is not conducive to practice. So having the external causes and conditions, it's even more rare and precious. Allowing gratitude to continue to arise for this opportunity that we have. And of course, sometimes we have all of these conditions in place. We have met the Dharma, it has resonated with us. We actually want to practice. We have an environment that is suitable for practice. And yet doubt will still arise. The hindrance of doubt, maybe not right now, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I should do this first. Or maybe even when I'm sitting with a group of meditators, I will ponder other things. So the final piece is a commitment to non-grasping mind. I will sit, letting everything in, letting everything out, abandoning the mundane, this temporary existence for a bit, and trust and rest in my Buddha nature that appears when we do nothing at all. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to achieve. Sitting, being, and breathing. You can continually give the mind permission to let go. You already are what you are seeking. We are seeking non-seeking mind. So by even letting go of effort, we're leaning into true Buddha nature. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to achieve, sitting, breathing, being. Slowly coming back to the external environment, allowing the eyes to open when you're ready, allowing the body to move when you're ready. Allow yourself to be awesome when you're ready. When you're ready. So cool. Yeah, so welcome anybody new to the group, either online or in person? No? Cool. We have about 10 of us online, maybe, I don't know, 18, I don't know, or so, 15, I didn't count, something like that, in person. Again, my name's Casey, and I think the talk today is on relative and ultimate bodhicitta. Usually bodhicitta is a term, although translated it means awakened mind, chitta mind, bodhi awake, awakened mind. Usually it's pointing to the heart. Of course, heart and mind, same. It's pointing to the heart practices, paramita practices are about nature of mind and it's, quote unquote wisdom. And then bodhicitta is the heart piece. But when we speak of relative and ultimate, so the ultimate bodhicitta, they really merge the emptiness and the compassion. So relative bodhicitta more in the realm of samsara. So relative bodhicitta within dualistic terms. So there's still kind of this subject object, myself and others, us versus them kind of world. And then ultimate bodhicitta would be we're all connected. So it's coming from a little bit different place. I like to say, when we're speaking of ultimate bodhicitta or just bodhicitta in general, it's really coming back to the intention, like moving into the intention behind our actions. So we could do the same action or say the same thing, but as we're taught when we were kids, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So the intention behind it is kind of how we might be acting in the same way, we might be saying the same things, but are we connected to this deep-rooted compassion underneath? Which I think I know myself and the world really needs to hold on to this intention, especially in times of it's always chaos, right? But sometimes more than others, it's prevalent. So this chaos that we're going through. So I was thinking about this topic, and I really would like to cover mindfulness. I usually don't chat about mindfulness a lot because there's just a lot of mindfulness out there. I think it's fun to come to Sunday Sit and maybe chat about different aspects of the path. But I think, for this in particular, mindfulness is so important. Let's just chat about it for a few minutes. And so we could set the tone that the whole talk is based upon, like we're on the same page with what do we mean when we say mindfulness? I say this because a lot of the heart practices and the cultivation of the heart is solely dependent upon the recognition of what is going on, like what is going on internally, what is going on externally, and to have that recognition, we need to move back into mindfulness. Mindfulness is the rudder in the water. What's the Pali term for mindfulness? Sati. And what's that translated towards? It's actually not translated directly to mindfulness. What's the direct translation? To remember. That's right. Awareness is it too as mindfulness. The direct old, translation to remember. What are we remembering? We are remembering to remember. Like we're remembering to come back. Like what the heck is here? Like the mantra of mindfulness is what is happening right now? What's happening right now? Am I aware to what's happening right now? Am I awake to what's happening right now, internally and externally? So mindfulness, there's a famous Jon Kabat-Zinn definition of mindfulness. Does anyone remember aspects of that one? Paying attention to the present moment without judgment on purpose. Paying attention to the present moment on purpose, non-judgmentally. So this hits just about everything. I really do like this definition. Paying attention is one that we usually get when people say, "What's mindfulness?" They usually get it's paying attention. The problem is a lot of times they stop like paying attention, like they think it's synonymous with mindfulness. But if there's a classroom full of of students and they're paying attention to the teacher, would you say, "Look at all those meditators. Look at them meditating," right? They're paying attention, but is that mindfulness, right? Not necessarily. So there's more to it. So we're paying attention. The next part, paying attention to what? The present moment. This is what separates out mindfulness from all other meditation techniques. I hear people say quite often, like, I don't do meditation, I just practice mindfulness. Well, mindfulness, exactly. Mindfulness is a form of meditation. The main difference is that it's taking as its object the present moment. In other words, there's no generation stage. There's other techniques we call it that have a generation stage. So like a mantra meditation or something that you're visualizing, you generate the image or generate something in the mind like a mantra, and then you meditate on what the mind is generating, right? So there's some active aspect with the mind already. So with mindfulness, we're taking the present moment, right? So this makes it very portable. This is why meditation, I think, took off in the West because it's very portable, right? So when can we practice mindfulness? Every minute. This is not the same with like a high Vajrayana or Tantrayana practice where you're visualizing like a Tonka, like a deity and the world of that deity, like a very, very intricate visualization practice. This is usually what they do like in a 3-year retreat situation where the causes and conditions are absolutely perfect, right? Not so portable. Fantastic practice, not so portable. Mindfulness, extremely portable, right? Paying attention to the present moment. So, and not only that, not only is it really portable, but also there's an effortless quality to it, right? Because the object is arising for you. Um, like that. See, we're just getting audio, just something to meditate on. It's it's organic, so it's just arising. So we're paying attention to the present moment. And this is my favorite piece is on purpose. Paying attention to the present moment on purpose. So on purpose, and why it's my favorite piece is that it's what shows up. What shows up when we're doing something on purpose is the entirety of why we practice. Like what shows up. So we're paying attention to the present moment on purpose. I like to use an analogy here of my dog, Wolfie, Sir Wolfington. So if I show Wolfie a treat, he's like a Zen master, right? He's total samadhi, single pointed concentration. All his mind chitta is focused, singular, right? Boom, he's just there. Amazing, right? And if there's a donk at the door, his ears will go and then right back, right? Totally amazing. So one could argue Be like Wolfie, just like that. Well, that's what we're shooting for. Not the case. Because maybe Wolfie has self-awareness, maybe metacognition, maybe, I don't think so, but maybe he's thinking, I'm on the object and I know that I'm on the object. But probably not. Probably it's just instinct, right? Like the mind could actually focus on something but not know it's focusing on something. Like when we drive somewhere, we drove there, we actually drove somewhere. So we're driving a vehicle, stopping at the stoplights and all that. But if you recall how you got there, you can't remember because you're doing two things at once. So there's part of the mind that's focused on something, right? But we don't know that it's focused on something. So this is why the start of the Satipatthana Sutta, right? The Sutta of Sati, the Satipatthana Sutta, the Sutta of mindfulness starts with what? Breathing, breathing in, I what? I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, what? I know. I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in long, what? Breathing in long, I know that I'm breathing in long. Breathing in short, I know. I know. Right? It's the I'm awake. It's there and I know that it's there. Like I'm talking and I know that I'm talking. You're listening, you know that you're listening. That which knows is what we're connecting to in all of Dharma. That which knows, not the content, is usually what we're stuck on. We're usually stuck on the content, not the knower of the content. So this is why paying attention to the present moment on purpose is the most crucial piece of this definition. Paying attention to the present moment on purpose. This is the most crucial piece of the practice and one that is somewhat abstract until we actually, practice. And the final piece is without judgment, without judgment. This is an interesting piece of this particular definition of mindfulness. Uh, I do like that it's there. I do. It's also important to note that it doesn't have to be there. It's not actually part of the instruction. What I mean by that is if you are paying attention to the present moment on purpose, you have connected with the knower. The knower intrinsically, innately, in and of itself, has no judgment. Because the thing that you could be looking at could be mental formations, right? The four foundations of mindfulness, mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feeling tones, mindfulness of mind, mindfulness of phenomena, mindfulness of mind. So judgment is what? Judgment is nothing more than a thought, a thought arising, right? Nothing more than a thought arising. So if you're paying attention to the present moment on purpose, therefore you are aware of thoughts arising, thoughts abiding, thoughts falling away. The knower of that is obviously not judgmental because it is literally looking at judgment. So that which is looking at anger is not angry. That which is looking at sadness is not sad. That which is looking at uh, these thoughts of judgment, right? So only moment to moment practice being present with what is can bring us into the antidote, if you will, of compassion. So inwardly, there's only three things on the workbench inwardly that we're being mindful of. What are we being mindful of inwardly? We call this the triangle of something. The triangle of, are you guys familiar with that term? Triangle of awareness. And the triangle of awareness is basically the three foundations of mindfulness. But what do they represent? What's that? Thoughts, emotions, feeling tones, body sensations. The entirety of our physical existence, the entirety of all phenomena, everything that comes in contact with us is only internalized by three different ways: thoughts, emotions, and body sensations. That's it. So we can't control anything outside of ourselves. What's on the workbench is mastery over ourselves. And ourselves are inwardly arising only as thoughts, emotions, and body sensations, but we call this the triangle of awareness. So there's something that we're missing, and it's that piece of ourselves, really, because thoughts, emotions, and body sensations, they do what? They come, they abide, and they go. But the knower doesn't, right? The knower remains. So the knower of a thought is there before, during, after, right? The knower of an emotion is there before, during, and after. We're not our emotion, we're not our sadness. When sadness goes away, we don't go away. I want to set all of this up. Well, last little piece. The definition of mindfulness, a definition, thoughts, emotions. I'm sorry, definition of mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment on purpose, non-judgmentally. Is that mindfulness?
Is that mindfulness?
Is that mindfulness?
Definition?
Yes.
No.
No. What's mindfulness then?
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Exactly. So our experience of the definition is mindfulness. This is really important. I like to think of it as an analogy of if your friend goes to a foreign country, let's say Italy, let's say they go to Italy, they come back and talk to you about Italy. Do you know what it's really like to go to Italy? No. It's really important because we actually don't know mindfulness unless we really practice mindfulness. And the same thing is true with compassion. So relative, we can kind of know what compassion is. Compassion, uh, this relative compassion, like I wish others, myself and others to be free from suffering. We kind of can know that. The ultimate bodhicitta, like this we're all connected piece and acting from that place. It has to be experienced, right? And I without the mindfulness piece, without moment to moment wakefulness, that we can never really tune into the intricacies of when and how to use compassion. Because compassion is nothing more than realizing the subtleties of suffering, which I love that this aspect about Buddhism in general and Buddha's story about he just wanted relief of suffering, right? It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be enlightened. I want to be, omniscient. I want to meditate upside down. I want to be clairvoyant, whatever. His whole thing is, may I meet old age, sickness, and death with grace. Can I be, can I be relieved of suffering? And I know within myself right now, like tons of suffering. Like when I read the news, all this other stuff that's happening, tons and tons of suffering. And it is easy to lose sight of the fact that there's no other side. There's no other people on the other side. And even on a relative sense, they are suffering. Like if you have conflict with somebody, the person that you have in conflict with, it could be a person, it could be a group of people, they are suffering. I'm suffering. This is a point of connection, not division. If somebody's angry at you, they're suffering, right? If somebody is selling off 1.5 million acres of land, they're suffering from greed, delusion, ignorance, things like this, right? They're suffering. And we need to meet ourselves first and foremost. We need to meet ourselves with compassion because the surface emotions that can arise out of compassion. So even the root is compassion. I don't want self or others to suffer. The root emotion is compassion, but so easily it moves to anger, right? So easily it moves to jealousy, envy, pain, suffering, all of this other stuff. So only by really sinking into moment to moment compassion, mindfulness, wakefulness, can we really tune into what's happening and then apply the antidote. Thich Nhat Hanh is famous for saying, compassion is a verb. So applying the antidote of compassion, empathy is the ability to feel, the ability to connect. Like I connect with somebody else's pain, empathy. Empathy in action, compassion, even if it's prayer, like may you be well, may you be at ease. Maybe you're on the other side of the world, there's a catastrophe. And so there is a comforting to connect and act in some way, even if that action is a wish for them to be free from suffering. Even that can be beneficial. If we're suffering, may I be free from suffering, right? So we have a little bit of time. I want to go over a practice that I share every once in a while. How many people are familiar with the 7 point cause and effect method of Vajrayana practice?
You've shared it here once or twice.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I'm going to share that again today, and I'll share it on our Facebook page, and I'll share it in the newsletter as well. If you resonate with this, awesome. Obviously, practice it. But what I like about it is that it's a practice that you can modify if you like too, because it's just something that simply goes from the relative to the ultimate. So it's like it's um it's a good um it's a good outline and an example of something that goes from the the relative aspects of compassion to the ultimate aspects of compassion. Uh, but before I go over that, I just want to hit home one last time that is how are we meeting our suffering? It's so easy to meet our suffering with ignoring it. We're really good at that, like just ignoring it, uh, or manifesting, like I mentioned, other aspects, like unhealthy aspects of interactions with that suffering and the suffering of others. So the more that we could tune into compassion, if we notice that, let's say using activism or whatnot, we notice that these very powerful models of activism, like very powerful, the Martin Luther King, the Mother Teresa, the Gandhis of the world, even Jesus was activist of their own kind of kind, right? Notice that they did so with this powerful equanimity, that they held a sense of ease when this. And that is extremely powerful because there's a part of them, you had a sense, it wasn't what they said, it was how they said it, that they were saying these things, but at the same time, they were holding that prajna, the wisdom, we're all connected. It wasn't like I hate you, that I don't hate the other side. It was allowing the other side to recognize that there was parts of them, this part of love and kindness that they were being held from, and they're trying to extract that universal love and compassion from the other side, right? It wasn't like I hate you. It was please recognize your innate love, kindness, passion, because they were in tune with this interconnectedness. Hello again. I don't know what happened with on our Zoom peeps. Just think. Okay. So 7 point cause and effect method. I'm gonna go through this fairly quickly because I do want us to have time to come together as a group as well. But it starts off, and again, I'm gonna share this, and you can Google it too. But it's a contemplation, and it starts off with, which is actually not part of the seven, which is interesting, but it actually starts off with a contemplation of equanimity in a Tibetan style, which is seeing all people as equal. So a lot of times we have like our friends, family, loved ones, we see them as as a certain type of connection point, people that can do things for us and help us in some way. They're kind of elevated within our minds. And so what we contemplate is that friends become enemies, enemies become friends, strangers become loved ones, right? Loved ones become strangers. Like all beings, we just spend a few moments just equalizing all beings. Like all beings, yeah, can we come into some kind of frame of reference that all beings are universally um, common, right? Come up with some equanimity. And then the next contemplation, and there's a couple things in here, for one, that are difficult for some people to wrap their heads around, and this is why it's not taught as often as other things. And this is one of them. Visualizing that at some point or another, all beings have been your mother in the past. So visualizing that all beings have some point in time been your mother in the past. And so this contemplation needs two things for it to be effective: the belief in reincarnation and that you like your mom. You know, those two things. That you have an affectionate relationship with your mom. So which doesn't necessarily need to be. So as I unpack it here, for one, you know, in Buddhism we say that we've been incarnating together for countless eons. So that sounds like kind of a long time. So that it makes sense that during this time all of us have mothered, you know, each other, you know. And also too, like it's really about the intention behind this. They're using a mother as a symbol, right, of kindness, a symbol of compassion. So if this life's earthly mother doesn't do it for you, of course you could choose somebody who who is a better fit for you in this visualization. But the point is that I like to say, gosh, it's highly likely that all beings have been simply, you know, nice to me, been kind to me in the past, right? And again, this is something that you could just try it on and see how it feels. So let's say we're moving on with the mother concept. So you're remembering the kindness of mothers, right? So you just contemplate the kindness of mothers. So the kindness of human mothers, the kindness of um, animals, animal mothers. I like to share a story. I was hiking one time, and this deer, this mother, you know, deer, uh, all of a sudden I came upon her, and she was really close, like 10 feet away or something. So of course, when you come upon a deer, they do what? They freeze, or they do what? They run away. So I was waiting for her to run away, and she didn't. In fact, she did this little weird movement where she acted like she was going to run away, and then she moved back towards me. This is really weird. And then I thought, she wants me to chase her. This is super bizarre. This is super bizarre. She wanted me to, she was like taunting me to go chase her. Then I look in the grass. She had must given birth like hours ago. The fawn was still like wet, like tiny little thing in the tall grass. I looked, and I might want to cry, like still thinking about it. Like here is like I am like the apex predator on the planet. I'm a human being, and she was risking her life for her little baby. You know, unbelievable. She was like literally like, come kill me, come attack me. You know, like she didn't run. She was actually moving closer and then like trying to get me to chase her. Unbelievable. Little baby, you know? Unbelievable. So I like to contemplate that. I think about that, you know, like contemplate, wow, like mother sentient beings, unbelievable, amazing, right? Incredible, incredible. And so next we contemplate the third step. This is obviously seven steps. Is I want to repay the kindness of mother sentient beings. If this is true, like and it might be true, right? And this goes for every bird, every insect, every ant you see, everything, right? It's true. Like maybe these mother sentient beings, you know, mothered me, and so I think about their kindness, and I think about repaying that kindness. Like, what if we were in that situation, and we were that, you know, baby deer, right? I want to repay the kindness. And so we go on, and the next one is love, and the next one's compassion. So we think about the love of mothers. We also think about the compassion aspect. And each one we reflect on repaying that. Like I want to repay the compassion, right? I'm going to repay the kindness, repay the compassion. I want to repay the love itself, right, of that. So the sixth contemplation, which is the most powerful piece. So as we're meditating upon this, the sixth contemplation is that we contemplate on that the only way really to uh, relieve the suffering, well, I'm sorry, the way to repay mother sentient beings is to relieve them from samsara. So we're all, on the wheel of samsara, and there's suffering here, there's dukkha here, right? And the only real way to do that is to relieve their suffering. And the only way to do that is to become enlightened, right? So we see these enlightened beings like Buddha, 2,600 years later, still freeing beings. His intention, if he set the intention, which supposedly he did, may I attain enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So this is the huge Vajrayana intention. May I attain enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. Like I attain enlightenment, and therefore I am able only then to free all beings. And you think about it, his intention still intact, turning out enlightened beings like an assembly line for centuries, right? Still intact because he went all the way, enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So we contemplate the only way to truly repay the kindness of these beings is actually to attain enlightenment. The seventh piece is the fruition of that intention. The seventh piece is in the meditation is actually doing nothing. We just sit there, right? We let the mystery consume us, right? We actually let enlightenment in. So we free our minds, just be. So the actual ultimate bodhicitta is emptiness, right? So we just allow ourselves to be. And I think it's beautiful. Like if you study the jhanas, which is the series of states of meditative absorption, usually within the realm of concentration and moving into like samadhi, single point of concentration. What I think is beautiful about the jhanas is one of the first objects of the jhanas is the aftertaste of metta. So what you do is you actually meditate on loving kindness. It's so subtle, the object, but the object is actually the aftertaste of loving kindness. It's the feeling, like this really subtle feeling of love within our being. We actually It's very, very kind of seductive for the mind to meditate on that. And so the mind becomes very stable. So we're doing the same thing here. So we generate intense loving kindness and compassion. And then we let the mind rest. But it's not resting on nothingness, it's resting upon the loving kindness and compassion within nothingness, which is very beautiful. And it really connects us to the same qualities of infinite awakened mind, right? So this is a very powerful, enlightenment practice as well. And so what I like about this again is it moves one through the relative aspects, the complete duality, like subject object, self others, and then it moves into this interconnectedness a little bit at a time, like we're all connected, and then ultimately into ultimate bodhicitta. All right. Any questions, comments on this practice? Yeah.
So many, but the most prevalent is the sense of this repayment of love and compassion to
Yes.
the mother.
Yeah.
My thought was that if all beings have always been our mother, then maybe we are also the mother of all beings
Yeah.
at the same time. And so the love is not just the repayment, but it's a pure love of the mother for the beings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like both is true, right? Like I know one I read somewhere where somebody's like, that means I have mothered the Buddha. Like, yeah. Yeah, too. Yeah, totally. So connecting with both, yeah.
question about is is the awareness, if you will, is the watcher, is that of being. in itself.
I think it's in the
About all beings.
yeah, all beings, yeah. I think in the Dharma perspective, um, so the question is the Dharmakaya, like we would maybe say, is it a being itself, like awareness, like consciousness, is it a being itself? And I think in the Dharma perspective, and I think Buddha was really wise in the sense that if you notice, he never imputed anything within, he never imputed anything on top of that. So there's no God in Buddhism. I mean, there's like Vajradhara and these deities and whatnot. But if you notice, there's no God. There's no being of that. And I think in this perspective, it's more powerful if we don't allow the mind to go there. And this is just for like a pure recognition of it, because I think the Buddha knew that as soon as the mind gets involved, then there's an imputation upon emptiness. And so instead of using fullness, emptiness, I mean fullness or even godliness, he just simply said emptiness, which really lets the mind go, right? So even if it was from the Dharma perspective, even if the consciousness or awareness was a being, we couldn't find that out through the mind. There's no PhD in enlightenment, right? We couldn't figure it out through that. Only through abandoning the concept of it being a being could we understand the non-conceptual truth of whatever that is, because it would be beyond mind, right? So maybe, but don't
Um,
know.
Something you mentioned early on in your talk about the difference between mindfulness and other forms of meditation,
Yes.
being that there's no generative aspect in mindfulness.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that, so I found that kind of subtle distinction very interesting. I hadn't thought about it
Yeah.
in a specific way before now. So, where mindfulness, like the moment itself is the object, I suppose. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The present moment itself
yeah,
kind of just being delivered to us. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was insightful, at least like I found it useful.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so maybe next time we'll actually, practice this together. I'm big into not just talking about them, but practicing. But I do want to give us time. You're still stretching? You're raising your hand now? Oh, okay. Oh, oh, just now. It was a car backing up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's a great emptiness piece, right? Because it was just a sound arising, but we all had different maybe understandings of what it was. But yeah, let's come together. And I love sharing tools that sharing our own wisdom in the room, tools. And in this case, what brings what's your favorite compassion practice? What brings you to compassion? Or what's your favorite compassion story? Like I shared a compassion story with the deer or whatnot. But what practices, what teachings, what instances help you connect with compassion? Uh, what helps you? Yeah, stay grounded in compassion. So if you're in person, go ahead and feel free. And I'm not sure if there's practitioners here, but we'll try to be, somewhat quiet. Maybe groups of three, no more than four. That'll be great. And then if you're online, I'm gonna just go over to a different room. So I'll just come together as a full group here if you're online. Give me 1 second to move over. Hey, everybody online, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Casey.
Good to see you, Anthony.
Great talk.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, what brings us to connect with compassion? Like what's anyone have any Anything to speak on in that respect?
I was thinking of uh for a second I couldn't remember what it's called, but the Tonglen practice. I
Yeah.
find that really helpful when I remember to use it these days, because lately I've had trouble remembering that. It just does. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on and a lot to get
Mm.
distracted by.
Yeah, yeah. So Tonglen, that's a sister actual, it's in the same lineage as the 7 point cause and effect for those that might not be familiar with Tonglen. Tonglen means giving and taking. And it's a practice where you kind of take on the suffering, it's transformed by the power of loving kindness, and then you give back this transformed energy to self and others. So yeah, another really powerful Vajrayana practice. Yeah.
I like the way you pulled the talk together. And personally, for me, I think that the only thing that ever gets in the way of compassion is when there's attachment or aversion.
Mm,
And
hmm.
so if I have a clear mind, if I'm meditating 3 times a day and uh, I'm just allowing thoughts, feelings, and perceptions to come and go, then there's my mind isn't sticky. It doesn't. When I hear the news, I don't. It doesn't lead to a train of thought, unless there's something that I think I can fix or something that I think I need to do. Uh,
Hmm.
but if without that stickiness, without that attachment to something, then I feel my mind is very compassionate, and you know, this is maybe something that'll help, and you try it and you see what happens. I think wisdom and compassion are our natural state. I think that attachment and aversion stop us from being wise and compassionate. Um, I think wisdom is doing what the present moment calls for. And the only thing that ever stops that is attachment and aversion or delusional thoughts. And so I really appreciate your talk. It was wonderful.
No, thank you, Anthony. Yeah, and thank you for that real life example. I was wanted to speak to mindfulness first because of that moment, like you're mentioning, that moment to moment non-stickiness. And I forget who said it, but like for obviously for us to be present with this moment, we have to let go of the last, right? So that continuous, like you're mentioning and pointing to, that continuous mindfulness, moment to moment wakefulness, non-sticky mind, you know.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, is it Camille? Oh, I think you're muted. Camille, are you trying to unmute?
Yes, unmute. Okay.
Perfect.
What helps me sometimes is to start with like the neutral person.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I'm reflecting, I think about, and then maybe it isn't as neutral, but I think about all the people in my day that have, they've bagged my groceries, or the customer service rep that is helping me with my airline flight, or just something neutral. And, but I guess then it doesn't end up neutral because I'm just very grateful um, that we have these neutral people. We really don't know their stories, but I find it's very easy to be compassionate and sort of. I might make up a story. The truth is, about
Yeah,
their lives,
yeah.
and then that does help me go into like the difficult person.
Mm,
So I can't go from like my loved ones straight to the difficult person. I really need to find, the
mm,
postman, the person who delivered my mail, but that neutral person is a really nice segue into having compassion for the difficult person. So
perfect.
that
Thank you.
helps me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Casey, for so much for your teaching. I get so much from them.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I if I can also remember when I have been in a place of suffering, or of moments of difficulty when I have not been at my best moment and my best self, I can have compassion for those other people because I can imagine that maybe they're in that spot that I was,
Hmm.
before. And that gives me so much more patience and compassion for them. And maybe they're just having a really hard, difficult day, or maybe they have a loved one who's suffering that and they're not in their highest place. They're not their best selves. So remembering that I too have um, been imperfect, and that we're all on this path together.
Yeah,
So that helps me remember.
that's great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Susanna?
Yeah, hi. I wanted to just comment on as you were talking, for some reason, the concept of the great activists that had a calm demeanor
Mm,
really resonated with me, and I think it goes along with metta and staying with kindness towards all. But that image for me was kind of calming and put me in a more compassionate state because it's easy to get out of a compassionate state right now.
yeah.
Um, and kind of was like, yes, that's how I want to approach things that do create aversion in me or frustration or anger, is like come into it with a calm presence.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
Anybody else? Yeah, Regina?
I was also thinking about how so many really good therapists, especially those who are Buddhists, really approach other people's suffering with curiosity. And even not just the suffering that is very apparent, but anger or um, emotions that can be difficult for other people to understand or be compassionate about. And they approach um, those people with curiosity. Like, I wonder let's look at maybe why this is going on,
Mm-hmm.
or what got triggered, instead of reacting. And I think that open-mindedness and that sense of curiosity instead of reaction, um, really, really helps also.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
I have
Yeah.
one more.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I was reflecting a little bit on um, when my mom was dying in a hospital,
Mm,
and we were just all really, it was just, yeah, as everybody knows, it was just horrible.
yeah.
We befriended another family that was sharing the waiting room,
Mm,
and then I remember I went out to my car, and a group of the people, they were in their car smoking pot and drinking beers. And so, but I knocked on the window and I just said, I want you to know I am, praying and sharing my heart with your family.
mm,
And it was just so lovely. And, through the haze of everything,
yeah.
they were going to share my compassion back. And then I don't know where I'd heard it, but somebody just said, do some metta for every person in this hospital that is experiencing suffering. And
Mm,
so, sort of making it very fine tuned. So it was, at the hospital, and I was just trying to send compassion to every floor, to every
mm,
ICU room. And it was just a very, I mean, it gave us a lot. It gave me a
yeah.
lot, doing
Yeah.
that. And it was just really lovely to focus, when you are in a place where there is a lot of suffering,
Yeah.
to take your focus off yourself and really
Yeah.
deeply connect with all, and we narrowed it down to all those who are losing their mothers right at this moment,
Right.
or,
Right.
to all the dying. And it was
Mm.
really, really profound.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the healing power of compassion,
Yes, exactly.
amazing. Yeah, it's phenomenal, really.
It really is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Anthony. Oh, I think you're muted, bud.
Yeah,
There you go.
trying to get that button. One thing you said also was like, oh, that's beautiful. You said that which is aware of anger is not angry.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in some ways, all of suffering comes down to uh, being aware of whatever state exists
Mm,
so that you're not attached to it.
mm-hmm.
Um, my girlfriend Allison has a difficult job, and she's like, well, if you had this job, you'd be angry too. And like, well, maybe, but
Maybe.
so she has started meditating recently and finds that it's more helpful than chanting because of the mindfulness
Mhm.
aspect of it. And I've gone back to uh, the breath meditation from using koans because I also find that being aware of whatever is in the present moment is different from something that you put in your mind, like a
Mhm.
koan,
Mhm.
which cuts off thought and your mind becomes empty, but is different from a mind that is just allowing things to come and go.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. It's fun to sit with you. I'm gonna
Well,
go ahead
thank you.
and head back to the welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and head back to the main group, so I'll see you in there. Thanks.
My knees are just about you.
And those chairs are too small. All right. So what came up in the smaller groups? Anyone want to share what came up for them? Always keeping a safe um, group setting, so just stay within your own experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, surprisingly enough, we all have precious jewels in our lives.
Yeah.
So how to manage that?
How to manage. Yeah. So Rick was saying something about everyone, all of them in the group had precious jewels. So that means another way to say difficult people that really help us see the work we need to do on compassion and in particular that interconnectedness, because when you see difficult people, um, it's that label of difficult person, but there's a way to connect on a mundane level. Again, they want more happiness and less suffering. And then on a spiritual level, even deeper than that. But yeah. If you think you're enlightened, go stay with your family. Go visit your family. Classic. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
Speaking to the family dynamic, I mentioned to my group that the point that you brought up about being everyone's mother and connecting to that just very recently came up for me in like a experience of role reversal with my dad and feeling like a maternal instinct toward him as he gets older and his
Interesting, yeah.
ability is more expressed. And yeah, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. That'll be an ongoing compassion practice.
Yeah.
I imagine myself as that mother.
Different dynamic. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
I liked your idea of having a compassion story. I felt that your story was very compelling, very just a great visual, and I could feel the compassion that it, brought forth in you. And it's a good idea for a writing prompt.
Yeah. 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 To have a compassion story to get the compassion moving. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Soleil. Oh, so yeah, Soleil, and then
Yeah,
well, Brian.
I've just been reading this book. Let's just say it's about a certain political figure, and let's just say there's a lot of pain, and suffering. And so I have this kind of like achiness, just like knowing the stories like behind this person.
Yeah.
And so today my practice was kind of like a tongue glen practice. Yeah, so just kind of breathing in like the suffering, the achiness, the pain, and then breathing out the compassion.
Great. Yeah. So for those online, Soleil was mentioning about reading a book about a particular political figure and learning about the pain and suffering behind that individual. And it came up for our group too, Tonglen, which is a sister practice actually to the 7-point cause and effect, and her practice of doing Tonglen for this individual. Yeah, it was helpful. Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Thank you. I also was practicing Tonglen practice.
Yeah.
And that brings me to why. The why is what helps me is understanding that these other beings are suffering.
Yeah.
It's like even if it's what seems to be a personal attack, there's there are other pieces of that don't know mine. But just to appreciate how much that others are suffering.
Yeah.
Helps bring my compassion.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the universal, contemplating universal suffering of all beings, even those that we might have disagreements with. Yeah. Okay, so we only have a couple minutes left, so let's go ahead and dedicate the merit. Let's go ahead and just sit back into our meditative posture. We started out today contemplating how rare and precious it was to connect with Dharma, and especially in this setting of coming together as a group. It's extremely rare, extremely precious. And when we dedicate the merit, we're dedicating the goodness and the fruition of a meditation practice or a gathering of Dharma. And we're extending that out, again, reflecting on the interconnectedness, extending this out to all beings that might not have this opportunity because we know that we're interconnected. So may all the goodness, the wisdom, the compassion, the insights, all of it, may all the goodness be extended out to all beings everywhere. May all beings, without exception, may they all be happy, truly, truly happy, and free from suffering. Om Mani Padme Hum. Thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody online.